Jamie Vardy was the spearhead of Leicester's remarkable championship triumph in 2016, but what made him Footballer of the Year over teammates such as Riyad Mahrez or N'Golo Kante?
Oh, without a doubt, the backstory. The backstory to a player who was, until relatively recent to that was, when I say relatively recent, but started out and did his time at non-league. The idea of someone coming from non-league to be in to win the title with Leicester, to spearheading their attack, to being a future Golden Boot winner. It's stories that only come along every so often. And we still get them. We still get players who rise from that level. But at that age, to be sort of doing your best, becoming a striker of pure international quality at that age, having come from where he come from, that was the story that captured the imagination. Plus, of course, you don't win the title without Jamie Vardy's goals. Plus, regardless of backstory, he was developing into an out-and-out brilliant striker. Plus, he was, he had that chippiness, that cockiness, that streetwise nature that I think so many of us just liked in the guy. This wasn't this wasn't someone who had been marked for greatness through academies and from an early age, or who'd been sort of earning 15 grand a week at the age of 18, and everyone knew he was going to be a superstar. We see so many of these now. This was someone who came up the hard way and was now scoring the goals that was to produce, the Cinderella story of the Premier League era.
You talk about his backstory there and how he wasn't an academy prospect. Could you just tell us a little bit about how he did make his way up the leagues and into Leicester's team?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, he played for non-league. I think it was the Stockbridge Steels, and then ended up at, you've got me, would it be Fleetwood Town? I can't recall, but and then obviously, Leicester eventually took a chance on him. I can't recall exactly now the exact journey. But he just basically kept persevering. He just kept persevering, and and got his reward with the move. And eventually, even then, you would say it's not very often a top tier team takes a player from that lower level, but they were rewarded. But no one could have imagined what he would go on to be.
Leicester's title win was it was just incredible. How did they do it? How did a team who've been so close to relegation before, how did they turn it around to win the league?
Yeah, they were close to relegation. I remember seeing them. Obviously, the previous season they had a remarkable, under Nigel Pearson, they had a remarkable end of the season to save themselves from relegation. Again, I don't remember the exact points tally, but I think they won something like 6 out of their last 9 games, something along those lines, which is great, which is unbelievable for a team down there to escape relegation. And obviously Pearson was replaced in the summer. And I don't know if it was the first game of the next season or their first away game, but I basically saw them down at West Ham, and they beat West Ham at Upton Park. And I remember seeing them, I remember writing, I thought, they were an incredibly well-balanced team. I mean, incredibly well-balanced. They pretty much, everyone knew their role. They're incredibly hardworking, and they were just settled. There's so much to be said about rotation, but if, as they did, had a fortuitous, but had a good run without any serious injuries, and they could just repeat themselves. They could just repeat the way they played. And it was founded on basically having a good keeper, good defence. I mean, it sounds obvious. They got the ball forward fairly quickly, and they just had a way of playing. And they had a way of playing that the teams underestimated. And then they just began believing in themselves. They just began. You could see the confidence just going through them. No one expected them to hold on. The confidence was just soared through them. And bear in mind also, I mean you would never take an iota of a claim away from what they actually did. But other teams in that season, teams that you would expect to be challenging more strongly, didn't. That was a season that some of the big guns didn't produce their best football. But even so, as you say, you would not take a bit away from Leicester City. They won because they found a way of playing and they stuck with it. And they had a togetherness that was just incredible. And they had a goal scorer of Vardy's ability. They had a midfielder who just took it by storm in goal with Kante. And they had a defensive unit that was just absolutely rock solid.